Evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing this evening? Probably feeling a little bit deflated, a bit down, frustrated, angry at what's been going on recently. Certainly can relate to all of that. Had a few days off with the kids, but it's certainly given me some time to think about everything, especially since Tuesday night. But anyway, we're going to get right into that in a moment. First of all, let me welcome, as usual, Carl. Evening, Carl. How are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Good, good, good. You've been off as well this week, so
I
enjoying
certainly
some
have.
time to get out and do stuff. Take your mind off the football. Andy, yourself, I know you and Carl have been out there shooting with your cameras. Obviously, Carl had a bit of a run-in with a. Well, what was it that happened yesterday, Andy?
We've been out with Maud. Maud took umbrage to Carl going up and taking a picture of him. So it was like roast beef chasing, I don't know what, chicken, fried chicken. And I see that Carl
No,
sporting
it's
his
after
Barrett
the
Rangers
Tamerton
top now.
foliate
Is that
kit.
Tamerton
Actually, I
Foliate?
thought it'd be rude not to.
Not Barrett Rangers.
Absolutely, certainly. We've got
Very
Herbie who's
smart,
come
mate.
back in as well. Joins us on the show when he can. He was at the Exeter and the Mansfield game on Tuesday, so it will be interesting to see how you're feeling, your thoughts. But anyway, evening, Herbie. How are we doing?
Yeah, all good. I just travelled back from Lake District today, so I'm quite tired, but thought I'd jump on and give my thoughts.
And he's ready for it.
Yes,
And we've got a new person on the show tonight. He joins us on the lives as well in the comments. It's Paul Bailey, and Paul Bailey is the man who coaches the under-15s. Got it right this time, Carl. At Tamerton Foliates. Obviously, with Carl, as we just said, sporting the kit there. So, Paul, it's good to have you on. How are you feeling, mate?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Mike. Just like to say thanks for having us on, and just pass on our thanks to everyone in the podcast for sponsoring Tamerton this year. It is very much appreciated from all the players, parents, and from myself.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. It's good to get involved in something. We've built this platform up now over the past 2 seasons, and it's if we can do something to help local community in some way, then all for it, absolutely. So, and a good start to the season so far.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, not too bad. Hopefully, get a win Saturday against our rivals, and then push on. We've got the semi-final of the cup coming up soon, so hopefully win that and progress to the final. And then the boys will have a nice day out at pavilions for the presentation. So
Good.
What's the secret, mate? We've got a plug at home pocket. I want to know.
Well, we'll get Paul's thoughts. Obviously, with more coaching experience than all of us, it'll be good to just get Paul's view on things. But anyway, welcome everybody that's joined us so far as well. It's tough going. I appreciate that when you're sort of coming on these shows, and I know some of you listen and watching on the others as well. And it's good to get different views. Some of the things will be definitely the same opinions and stuff, but it's tough, and we get that. So we appreciate you coming on as always. And also Tuesday night when I did the watch along again, it was a good showing there, and it definitely helped get through that pain. So we've got a few people in tonight. I'm just going to scroll through some of the comments. So Stephen Cooper's in. Evening, Steve. Spencer Kid Hazard, as he's known on your screen there. Let's go, Mike. I'll have to come on soon. Yeah, we'll try and sort something out for that, Spence. Argo 83, Nightmare for Cleverley. Yeah, I thought I'd have a bit of fun. And also, hang on, I should be pointing that way. Is that Paul Byrne in the background there? Maybe under the... anyway, no, it's all in jest, but with a serious note to it, because obviously it's very difficult at the moment. We've also got Michael Hawks in. Hi, Mike, the Reading fan from Plymouth. Good to see you in, Mike. We've also got Steve Vaughan's in tonight as well. Evening, Steve. Andy Prowse. Evening, everybody. He says it really is a scary time of year. Season and club direction. Absolutely. And also Party Gamer Boy saying yes, Paul. And Pilgrim Petey. Good to see you in, Petey. So, look, we're going to go through a few things tonight, and I'm conscious, and I've been debating this with Carl actually throughout the day on things, and wanting to try and make sure we get our points across, but without the negativity, which is bloody hard, because it is a very difficult and challenging time out there. So we'll talk about the game as well on Tuesday night. We got Herbie, who was at the game, as I alluded to, so we'll get his thoughts from the grandstand. There were some interesting chants, which I'm sure Herbie can relay.
I believe he started some of them as well.
No, no comment.
Yeah.
Always just be honest and say it how you feel, because that's what it's all about when it going gets tough. Get those emotions out. We'll talk about then Cleverley overall and where it's going wrong and what can we do, or what can he do, I should say, and whether or not the guys and myself the Cleverley in or Cleverley out camp. We look a little bit to the boardroom side, the recruitment, and individual players and performances there. And of course, we've got the FA Cup first round to come on Saturday. And actually, do you know what? That's winnable. So let's look to hopefully at the end of the show for the positives on that. But I'm going to come to you first, Herbie, because you were there on Tuesday night. And obviously yourself, Harvey. I've got a couple of videos from Harvey. He couldn't come on tonight, but he's given me his thoughts to pit on as well. Two people that travel to a lot of away games, So I think at times, and we've seen, some of you might have seen Pieface's video as well. Obviously, he goes to every away game and he gets caught up in the emotions of the game at the time and has reflected since. And so I think those people really have a valid voice to give. So Herbie, just give us how that game was for you, and then sort of where your head's at after that.
I feel like it was just from minute one. I felt we were just absolutely crap. Didn't play like a team that have ever played with each other ever before. And then one long ball over the top, and we just we shit our pants pretty much, and we couldn't deal with it at all. And you sort of saw it throughout the extra game as well. When a long ball went over the top, defenders didn't know what to do with themselves. They couldn't clear it properly. They took about 3 or 4 touches when they didn't need to, and gave them chances. And then against Mansfield, first, I can't remember what was it, 6th minute, played a ball headed, a ball in behind, and we just couldn't deal with it. And then from that moment on, when the ball hit the back of the net, you just know we weren't going to get an equaliser. All our heads just dropped, as it has done all season. Every time we've conceded, we've not. I think there is a stat that every time we've gone 1-0 down, we've not got a point, or we've not got a win.
Not got a win since January. Yeah. Cardiff, I think, if I'm correct.
Yeah. So as soon as the ball hits the back of the net, you just think, well, all these players just there's no inspiration from anyone. All the heads just drop, and we don't even look to try and get back into the game. Second half, Cleverley obviously did something because we came out looking better, and we were on top for 10-15 minutes. But and our best chance fell to a 17-year-old in the box. Of course it did. And he couldn't, his inexperience got the better of him, and he couldn't finish his dinner. And then in the late stages of the game, we were tired, and then we just lost it again and just let them have an easy goal. So yeah, I just think from minute one, it was awful. From minute 90, it was just an awful watch.
Evening Graham has just dropped in. Yeah, look, I did the watch along, which I'm hoping third time lucky. I'm hoping to be able to do it on Saturday. But
you haven't mentioned that much, Mike.
Well, plugging it for the show, Carl. Yeah. So naturally, why wouldn't I? But no, and obviously we had Carl and Andy on at half time and full time, which also made it on that as well. And it's just. You just sat there and you're thinking, just don't concede early, because don't concede early. And then, oh my God. And it was on 6 minutes, as you rightly pointed out, Herbie. And, I'm sat here in the comfort of my own home, streaming to a load of people who are also at home watching it while you guys are up there in the cold weather, sort of having to deal with that. And you just then, for the heads to drop and just to not get out of that. It was a calamity. You're right. It was very much like the Exeter goal. Route one. It was an awful, unfortunate flick on from Ross from the keeper's long ball into a very dangerous area. And for those that don't realise, Galloway did flick the ball off Weirdo, who tried to clear it, and then obviously looked like he had a massive air shot. So it's just, calamity. Could Hazard have done better, etc. It's tough. It really is tough. Andy, you watched it with Carl. It's, what else can you say? There was that 15-20 minute spell, and we did close them down a bit more in the second half. The subs made a difference, didn't they? But it was just too little too late.
Yeah, we've gone back to that lack of communication at the back again, haven't we? 2 players going for the same ball again. We had this early on in the season where 2 players were going for the ball. I think Mitchell had it in one game and in the previous game, but in this sort of Tuesday night game, there's two players there. One's got to be marking the guy who's coming through on goal. So I'm guessing that's going to be Wiradoo, or and they got to clear it between them, but they don't. Galloway sort of gets in his way a bit, and it just comes off a leg, and the rest is history, isn't it? It's communication breakdown. We've had this time and time again this season, and Wiradoo's been at the centre of it. He's not a defender. He's not a defender. He's a midfielder. Let's get him into midfield. Get someone at the back who can actually play there. Even if you bring John Matthews back.
Yeah, and I'm not ignoring your question, Pilgrim Petey, because I will come to it after I just get the guys' thoughts, because obviously it's a big topic for tonight. But yeah, Carl, I mean, substitution changes. I mean, the lineup to start with. From you've got Argyle TV subscription, so you had the full sort of post match, and there was that issue with Edwards saying that his calf wasn't happy. Earlier in the week, Cleverley noted that he wasn't sure whether or not he would start along with Ibrahim, but they left it to a late fitness test and they threw him in the squad. Whether or not Joe was accepting of that or not, the last thing you want is to then crock him even more for even longer on the sidelines. But obviously he was subbed and changed before kickoff as he pulled up in warm up, and then obviously Wiradoo, who's suffered a bit with the calamities and obviously has to come in probably not prepared for that.
A little bit, did you say?
Sorry?
A little bit, did you say?
Well, you know what I mean. But yeah, being involved in some of the calamities. Yeah. But my point being is that maybe mentally he was happy with being on the bench, even if he did come on as a sub, but he's then thrusted into the game with little prep, and then suddenly you get him and Galloway, who's also had an absolute shocker again, and then that's it. But yeah, the lineup wasn't the strongest it could have been, was it, do you think?
Well, not really. I mean, we've struggled with injuries since day one, haven't we? So any lineup hasn't been our strongest because we've got so many missing players. And obviously now we took that risk with Joe Edwards. We have now learned he's going to be out for another couple of weeks. So again, was that risk worth taking during the week? Clearly not, because now he's injured his calf muscle and he's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. So again, was that on Edwards? Was it on Cleverley? I don't know. Probably Edwards being the captain, he probably wanted to put himself forward for the game. And Cleverley's gone along with it, and now it's backfired. And obviously Wiradoo probably was rightly dropped, and he's now been forced to now play him again in a position which I don't think he's anywhere near a League One standard defender. We knew when we signed him he was more of a CDM, but could play at centre-back. But that's not his preferred position. And when we played him in CDM, I think it was against Bristol City in pre-season, he had an excellent game. And then ever since then, we put him at the back. Whether that's due to injuries, potentially, because we didn't have Ross at the start of the season, did we? We didn't have Mitchell either. Pleggy's been injured. So I kind of get Such, Cleverley's hands have been tied, but at the same time, Cleverley wanted his small squad. He's got a small squad. And there you go. So it's come back to bite us on the arse. If you wanted a few extra faces in the summer, then maybe we wouldn't have been in this position, especially defensively. And obviously bringing in Ashby Hammond as well, not much experience there. He started the season poorly. So as a unit, we've been poor all season, especially the first 4 games. And then things started to progress a bit better when obviously Mitchell came in, Ross came in, he shored up for a few weeks. Ashby Hammond then started to play a bit better. And as weeks went on, the Stockport game was decent. He beat Burton comfortably. And a couple of the home games weren't as bad as they were now. And I thought we were looking a bit more solid. Ashby Hammond was actually pretty decent before he was dropped. I know most of us were calling for Hazard to come back because clearly he is supposed to be the overall better goalkeeper, and he hasn't looked himself at all since coming back. Maybe he's not 100% match fit. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Cleverley's hands are tied in regards to selections, but he's not helping himself with the ones he is selecting, especially the ones in wrong position. Such isn't a wing back. Dale was used as a wing back on Tuesday, which again is baffling. He needs to be further up the pitch. Wasn't great on Tuesday, was it?
No,
a game that should have been winnable, like Saturday's potentially going to be, but we're just not at the races at the minute.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Edwards is I wonder now, the sort of couple of games where he's played in, he hasn't been brilliant. And I wonder if that injury, and I can understand for a player like him wanting to say, yeah, I need to get in, I need to be out on the pitch, and Cleverly saying in the presser that, he's an important person to have on there. It's difficult. You are so threadbare, but you are risking injuring the players even more. Paul, I'm going to come to you in a second, just going to read through some of the comments. So we got Mike Callahan, evening Mike. Brendan Rogers is available. Stephen Cooper agreeing with Argyle 83, who said even Paulson wouldn't make mistakes. Weiradu does. Pilgrim Pete, he's saying, Cleverly said in his presser, Weiradu knew he had a good chance he would need to step in for Edwards, so can't make excuses he wasn't ready. No, I think there's part of it, whereas probably mentally, although he would have been, of course, if I have to go in and start, I will. But it's whether or not his head's right, I think, with the pressure and the mistakes recently there. But valid point. Shane Harris saying Chris Webb's piece today, another one who's put an article out on Plymouth Live. With a lot of points. I think there's some that are valid there. We'll come on to those. That was part of the sort of plan to a degree anyway tonight. But yeah, he's gone and given his voice on things. Also, where we go in here, some of the comments have moved. Stephen Cooper, nice to see the board come out and back Clevs. It will come good. Yeah, some are seeing that as the dreaded, back in the manager thing, and is something going to then eventually happen? We'll talk about it later. Herbie's got some views. We're talking pre-show on who should have delivered that message, and we'll discuss that. Jack Smith, evening lads, still recovering from the horrendous Tuesday game. And Graham, when he came in earlier, said we'll be able to concentrate on the league after Saturday. So Paul, coming to you as a coach, some of the biggest issues and frustrations with that game, we heard it all in the presser. The lads have got to come out, fight, give their all. Cleverly cannot account for those mistakes, or his post-match pitch side comment, which I've got a snippet of, did sort of concern me to a degree in that. But it's almost like when you sort of see these players have these issues after going a goal down, and you see the managers like, oh man, what do I do now? And, he's not as animated as the other managers or coaches on the pitch. What's your view of that when you see what you've seen recently? Give us your thoughts as a coach.
I know, like you say, Argyle's going for a bad stage at the moment, a bad patch, and the players will be looking for guidance and confidence boost from the manager. Now, regarding whether the manager's getting as low as well, unfortunately, he's in that position. He's been put in that position as the manager. Yes, he's getting a bit of stick for the results and stuff, which he should be, in my opinion. That's what he's there for as well, to take the stick. But he's just not, to me, there's just no passion. There's no passion. There's more passion from the coaches than there is from the manager. And it'll just seep onto the pitch, and then the players, it'll affect the players. They'll think, well, look at the boss. His head's down. He's really struggling and stuff like that, and it'll just reflect on the players, and then their heads are not in the game. That's when you make mistakes, like possibly the air shot, and I think it was Chris, somebody said about lack of communication at the back. I mean, the communication at the back at the moment is absolutely shocking. It's like they don't want to speak to each other. They're not playing as a team. Some of them's playing as individuals, and communicate. You've got to communicate on the pitch, and not just on the pitch. You should have the manager, in my eyes, on the sidelines. If a player does something wrong, he's got to be telling them. I know they're big enough and old enough to know that they're doing wrong, but the manager's got to get, he's got to show a little bit more passion in my eyes, and he's got to show a little bit more, like you say, not every manager is animated on the sidelines, don't get me wrong. But to me, in the last few games, I've seen absolutely nothing from him. Nothing.
Yeah.
And
that's the big worry, isn't it? I mean, Ferguson was the most animated on the touchline, and I think what concerned me as well. I mean, I know we're not seeing the dugouts throughout the game, obviously, but there's part of me that says, Was there anyone else even trying to step out into the technical area and shout and bark instructions? I mean, obviously you can see Nance going up to Cleverley at times, but you just sort of, it breeds that sort of confidence and the lack of any action and body language, and everybody else is probably sat behind going, well, like, is anything going to happen here? And that was the biggest worry for me, Paul. And I said it during the watch along, and you equally commented on it, and that was, it felt like some of the players were going maybe a bit rogue in that second half. And I mean, you had Sukes and Galloway. Jesus was all the way up the top corner of the pitch trying to win balls and do something. We saw Mitchell, was it in the Wimbledon game where he went up to try and act as a striker, and I sort of said, what's going on there then? And you said, well, is that the players deciding to go rogue because they don't believe what the manager's trying to instruct them to do?
Yeah, I think it's just, if the manager's not guiding you, you sort of try and take it on yourself to do something and change the game in some way when you're on the pitch. I get that, but if you've got to be, you've got to be guided from your manager. If my wing back went flying forward, I would be on the sideline shouting to him to get back in his position, because I know that he's going to go up and he probably, if they break, he's not going to get back in time because he's out of position. And it's just. But it's nothing from Cleverley. They seem to be doing what they want to do, and he's not pulling them up on it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with some of the comments that the lads have made about the second half the other day in the last game was better for the first 15 minutes. Now, I would be hoping that Cleverley at half time has got him in that changing room and he's given him an absolute rocket and said, you need to go out there and prove yourself that you want to be here, because some of them just seem to be like they just want to go out and kick a ball around and don't, oh, well, we've lost again, but, always next week, we move on to the next game and hopefully we get a win. In my eyes, that's not really the right attitude to have. They need to be going out, play, like you say, playing for their shirts to be, and it's. But again, going back to the manager, you're guided by the manager. And I think he probably did give them a rocket at half time. They've come out for 15 minutes, looked possibly, the better team, was closing down quickly.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
which
they
is
were.
something I love him playing football. I'm always telling him, close down quickly. Don't let them get shots off. If you pressure players, they'll make mistakes. If you don't pressure them and you give them time on the ball, they'll ping a 30-yard ball, 40-yard ball, and put the ball in the back of the net because you're not pressuring them.
No, and Paul, just on that point, that was so telling between the two halves. In the first half, where if it wasn't a long ball from the keeper, it was all the time that they had at the back to bring it forward, and it was those diagonal balls, notably to Galloway's side, that caused all sorts of issues. I will come to some of the guys' comments in there, but a couple of them have mentioned Dale. He was, and I said it on the watch along, and you could all see it, he was outstanding on Tuesday night. And he was even back trying to cover, in the nicest way, Galloway's ass when he was under threat, and actually he did a better job of it, with all due respect. Or maybe not, in that latter bit. But that was someone who was, and you could see him getting frustrated with the players on the field. I know, Herbie, you might not have easily seen it, but obviously from the cameras, you could see he was getting pissed off with all the other players around him. I'm doing my job. Why aren't you doing your job? And regardless of the goal going in. So I think the body language thing for me is a concern. I mean, I'll come on to the inevitable at this point, just to ask the immediate thoughts of people. I mean, Paul, if I can ask you that, starting with you. Cleverley, do you think we need to change it up? Does he need to go, effectively? Or are you giving him a bit longer, and how many, if you are?
I don't think we can give him much longer if we do give him any time, to be fair. He's had long enough to know how his players play, and he's still playing them out of position in my eyes. Like you say, Sukes into wing back. We've got defenders who's not defenders playing in those positions. And I know people saying about, we ain't got no one else because of injuries. and we've got to play what we've got. But we've got too many. To me, he's playing too many players out of position. Just going back quickly with when the second goal went in on against Mansfield, he sort of he just looked gone. The manager just looked gone, and he was like,
"Want to be swallowed up by the ground again?"
Oh, yeah, and when somebody concedes a goal, they look to their bench, they look to their manager for guidance or a little bit of like confidence. Like, yeah, come on, boys, we can still win this. But with Cleverley, there was nothing, And in my eyes, I think he needs to go. But who else is out there that could potentially come in and do any better?
Yeah, and that was my piece on the watch along. Is it's difficult because who is out there to sort of bring in, and it unsettles things a bit more. We'll go. Thanks for that, Paul. Herbie, I'm just going to go back in reverse order.
Yeah.
TC in or out, and a brief reason why for now.
Well, I'm saying out, and obviously the question is who could do better. Nance and Joe, I think, could do better. And I generally think if you keep them at the end of the season, if you stick with them to the end of the season, we stay up comfortably mid-table and we have an all right season. And if you think about it, in the past few years, some of Argyle's best games, right? Brentford, right? Managed by Nance and Joe, right? Leicester at home, managed by Nance and Joe. Hull, staying up at Hull, managed by Nance and Joe. There's lots of games in our past seasons that have been managed by them, and it's been key of keeping us up or getting us to places. And also this season, what has been our most convincing win this season? Probably Burton away, right? We won 4-0, right? Nanscoville was manager. Tom Cleverley was defended.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant. It's
a good point. It's a good point.
That isn't a coincidence. That is not a coincidence. Against Luton, he was off for the last 20 minutes and we held on. Maybe I'm looking into it a bit too much.
No, I love that.
But that isn't a coincidence that our most convincing win and he wasn't there. So, and then also for me as well, I mean, Owen Dale in the last few games has been our best player. Why is he playing at left back? I mean, I'll go to pretty much every single game, right? I want to see our best players, right? When I travel up on a coach 6 hours or whatever, I want to see our best players. I don't want to see our best players playing completely opposite sides of the pitch. I mean, and that's not about what I want to see either. I want to see Argyle win, and that isn't going to help us win. Owen Dale was unbelievable against Mansfield, right? Imagine how good it would have been if he was in his position that he's played for years.
Yeah, which and his position, because I was looking at FOTMob earlier, because I don't tactically on all those bits, I don't always pick everything up apart from some of the obvious positions. But with Dale, he's noted as a left midfielder, is he not?
I thought he was a right.
No, well,
he could be right or left.
Yeah, because that's probably what it is. Because Pieface mentioned this actually on his TikTok video, and I was like, well, I know he was back supporting Galloway, probably because he was like, if I don't, then it's going to get messy. But I thought, maybe that wasn't the position he would normally be in. And I've seen him start on the right, so it did throw me. And I went and looked it up on there, and it just said left midfield. So I was like, okay, maybe that, again, players that can play in multiple positions, but you've got to think that if they're saying left midfield, that's got to be his most consistent position he's played in. But
he played behind Mumba, though. So all that... I mean, when Argyle play a flat four, our left mid normally, who is normally like either Sorinola or Benarouz, they normally track back anyway. So I was expecting Owen Dale to be back and playing more defensively, but it's not in his nature. So what he was doing is he was supporting Mumba, and then when we lost the ball, Mansfield just played the most simple ball down to the left, and Owen Dale was sprinting back. He was the only one sprinting back and having to make last-ditch tackles. And the reason why I was getting annoyed because he was the only one doing it, and he knew he couldn't do it for 90 minutes because he couldn't sprint for everybody, and that's why he was getting so annoyed.
Yeah. So I'll come to you in a second, Andy. I just want to catch up with some of the comments because there's loads coming in. So thanks for that, folks. Mark earlier said, evening, guys. Totally agree with Pilgrim Pete. Just watch it back and see the lack of commitment. I mean, if you did watch it back, Petey. I mean, I was tempted to put the little highlights on tonight, but I'm I can't do it to everybody.
No. It's Halloween tomorrow, for Christ's sake, not tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it just that was the biggest worry, as I said earlier, that lack of commitment. Argo83 saying Edwards has been a great servant for this club, but it's time to stop now. He can't run, and his fitness is not good enough. And like I said, it could well be that he was carrying that niggling injury even in the games he came in. Pete, he also saying Cleverley said in the press. Oh, that's one I've already read. Sorry, apologies. Round pegs and round pegs and square holes. Sorry, a couple of you have said in the notes. Harry Vanzino, good to see you back in, Harry. Evening, guys. This is getting really hard now. Cleverley in or out. There doesn't seem to be any easy solution to the trouble we are in. Alex Head, evening, Alex. Should we sign any free agents? If so, who? I mean, I know there was one ex-Arsenal that got signed recently, but I just think if they're free agents, there is a reason for that, especially if no one's picked them up yet. Ben Bennett Flooring, good to see you in, Ben. I'd see Andy did say hello as well. Sits just the row in front of us, just in front of Andy, actually, in the block 9. Green Army will still back Argyle no matter what. Graham Burns saying, thought Dale was excellent. I was alluding to that just now. We just spoke about that. Let me just read a few more down. We haven't been the same since Elliot Turner. It's an interesting one, that, because all these injuries, again, I'll come to you in a minute on that one, Paul, because we're just getting too many of those. Brian Clough Voodoo, I did see you popping earlier. Good to see you in. Brian Clough never left his bench, did he? So a bit of banter there. Close the Argyle ward at Derriford. It's been unlucky for us since it opened. There's a lot more comments in there as well, and I'll try and read some more out in a minute. So GT, I can see you've just dropped in as well. Andy B, evening to you. Bry GP as well. Andy, yeah, go on, your thoughts. Are you in or out at the moment, and why?
I'm a bit shaken all about, but I'm sort of leaning towards the in. You got to give him to January. He cannot help the sort of squad that he's inherited. Cannot help the injuries that we've suffered this season so far. So you got to try to stick with it. We've got people coming back from injury. Pleggy's on the grass now. Mackenzie's on his way back. I mean, they might make a difference. We don't know, do we? But, do we give him to January? I think we've got to give him a window to see what he can bring in.
I think on the recruitment front, while I was thinking this all through today, and his press conference today, there were a couple of sort of really interesting comments from him. One about obviously a number of those players. It was 4 or 5 of them, wasn't it, that we signed really early on the free with the odd one as a small fee. He said that was obviously already dealt with. He said it was clear what the club were looking to do. So obviously bringing a lot of project players. He didn't, from the sounds of it, have much influence over the recruitment. We all know what's happened to Tom Randall. And part of me, and the big one for me, was he was asked what the difference is between a coach and a manager. And the straight away he went on the recruitment side. He said the manager is involved and deals and manages the recruitment side for the squad as well. He's the one that determines who should have an extension on their contract, who shouldn't, and all this. And I thought that was quite telling, because I know when Gavin was on, and he's away on holiday at the moment, but evening, Gav, if you are watching, he sort of said, well, that would be typical to do the whole analyse and sit down and debrief on the window straight after it closed. But I just felt the way then Cleverley highlighted that was going to happen was quite telling for me back then. And I feel like he's more of the camp where he wants to have a control over the recruitment and may well be asking for that to happen. So you could be right, Andy, giving him till January. It could be really painful by the time it comes to January and make things even more difficult to get players. But
I just think though, Mike, 4 of the players that he bought in, he never had a say in. This before
it's only McCabe, isn't it? Who everybody seems to think is the one.
So McCabe, he's bought McCabe in. He's bought Owen Dale in on loan, and he's bought Ross in, who have been good, and Mitchell. They've all been good players. Mitchell's had this bereavement, and that's affected his play. Of course, it's going to affect his play, mentally. When that's something like that happens. So you got to sort of fit in for that in a way, haven't you? You can't sort of play a player all the time when he's just gone through a traumatic experience. In my role as a counsellor, I know that trauma hits hard.
Yeah,
it's hit him hard. So all this is unforced. Now, do we sort of January we get the players that he wants to bring in, and does it change then? I mean, if it doesn't change, then obviously we've got to get shot. But I think damage limitation now, we've got to sort of finish we're going to finish sort of mid-table, lower mid-table if we're fortunate.
Sort of, Carl, I'll come to you, but just one comment I just want to read out. Mark, who said earlier, and this, I did actually, when I said about the rest of the people on the bench not getting involved and trying to bring some energy to the touchline, Joe was one of those that I sort of observed when it went to the dugout. And Mark said, Joe looked unhappy. TC hasn't got a clue who to play and where, with no plan. Supercomputer has us finishing third from bottom. Always look like a good bit of supercomputer predictions. It's difficult because obviously we left it too late with Rooney to get into that window and deal with that properly. We had the whole Beidou debacle, and I'm not blaming that on all on Rooney because it was a done deal in the summer, really. But that was another what the hell's going on there. So it's not been easy for him, but there is signs, Cole, isn't there? And tell me where you sit at the moment, where you just sit there and you think, why isn't he changing that up? Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? And you can't sometimes, if you always did what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Yeah. So, and that is at the moment defeats. So, Carl, give us your thoughts and where you are as well.
Probably more out than in at the moment. I don't think it's wise leaving it until January unless I think if we're still down there struggling in the bottom four, then I think within the next probably 4 weeks, you're going to have to look at making a change. I mean, we'll see where we are at the end of these batch of away games, because probably Bradford City will be postponed anyway with internationals, and then we're away against Port Vale, so that takes us into end of November then. So I think if we don't see any improvement, I mean, you expect to see improvement within up to 20 games into a season. If you don't see improvement in that, then you're going to seriously have to consider looking at a replacement. But the statement doesn't
suggest... He said himself, Carl, 15 games, judge me on 15 games.
Well, exactly. I think 15 games, 20 games is enough to judge him on. I know the circumstances that have affected us this season, but that's still not good enough. The players we've got are still good enough in this league to be better than where we are in the division. A lot of these mistakes are individual mistakes. It's not team mistakes. I think if you iron out these individual mistakes, we should be doing a bit better. But Tom Cleverley needs to be getting the lineup right and playing players in the right positions. I think we all know we're not going to be up there challenging for promotion, playoffs, or even top 10. I think at this point we need a season of stability, and I think lower mid-table is what we expect and what I would actually want from this season. I don't think we're in danger of going down. I think things will slightly improve, especially when we get our players back. It's whether we can stay within touch within those games before they do, because I think if we don't, then I'm definitely Cleverley out for me.
The gap starts.
What I find weird, guys, as well, is that we've got 3 players out on loan. Callum Wright, Wigan. We've got Ogbeta at Bolton, and we've got Freddie Osaka, who's not even getting a game down at Bristol Rovers. Now, do they get a game for Argyle? I don't know if they do, but we've got, if we had them here, at least we've got something to choose from, haven't we? Ogbeta, at right back, we just don't know. That could sort of shore up
it's difficult. I mean, Pilgrim Petey just saying and just noting his earlier comment before I come to his latest one that's on screen. I mean, this is the conundrum. We can talk about, obviously, Paul Byrne's statement stressed the number of injuries we've got. It's the same old last season with Rooney. But Petey's right. I mean, we can hope, and even then we were wanting these players to come back. I mean, can we just say, one positive out of this week so far is seeing Plaguey on the pitch, not just because I'm such a fanboy of Plaguey, but because it's just great to see him back. A player that it was desperately gutting to see him, sort of take that injury and going to be out long term. And it does look like he's ahead of schedule. It looked like his level of training was fairly intensive. We saw Amiechi as well the other week. So, fingers crossed he can get back in earlier than planned, because we do need him. But what Pete is basically saying, a word for word, pretty sure Cleverley said wrong one. Well, yes, we have players that have got to come back from injuries, but how confident are you we're not going to pick up any more? Can't see much light at the end of the tunnel with more players getting injuries. I need to give my view on in or out before I go to Paul, because I want to ask Paul about this situation on the injuries. But Petey as well, picking up on the inconsistencies or contradictions in Cleverley's messages as well, where he said, pretty sure he said he wanted a small squad numerous times over the summer. Bizarre comment, even when you consider he had the same amount of injuries at Watford after January. He obviously then changed his mind and started sort of complaining about the lack of squad, and so it's heads clearly in with one view 1 minute, one view the next. So I hate to say it, but his interviews are as inconsistent as his tactics, and selections. But it's a difficult one for me. I've really tried to think long and hard, because I think most people are expecting me to clearly say he's in. I'm a bit like Carl. I'm sort of part way out and part way in. I think my biggest fear, and it's probably a good time for me to stress this, we've seen a lot of noise over the socials. I actually stayed off X after Tuesday night, not just because I did the watch along, but because it's going to get toxic. And I get that. Every emotion is so high. One thing that I think that has to boil down to everything, no matter what your views are and whether you agree with that person's views or you don't agree with that person's views, just because they don't align to yours doesn't mean they're wrong. That's their view. And the one thing that I hate seeing when all of this happens is fans having a go at each other and it getting nasty. And I think it's just a shame. It's what people will argue it's what the club has done because of the result of their incompetence recently. But do you know what? Just because someone doesn't agree with you that Cleverley should go and the board should go, doesn't mean to say that your opinion then is right, and you should stress that. And it's not. I mean, Andy, I know we spoke about something earlier in the week, and it's not just that. It's so much of it that I see on there, which is why. Mentally, for me, I just sometimes in those moments stay off it. But yeah, for me, I'm torn in this situation where changing the manager again is more bloody disruption. Yeah, when we're in a massive transitional period. Secondly, when we signed Cleverley, we all thought, brilliant, love that appointment. Yeah, and not only that, Hallett actually backed him. So those that and I'm not a Hallett fanboy. I just see things as I see it, but. Hallett backed him up with his backroom staff. We didn't do that for Foster. We didn't do that for Muselich. So effectively, he put his commitment that, yes, we've got a long-term plan, Cleverley agreed with that plan, but he supported him by straight away bringing in his backroom staff, which wouldn't have come cheap. So not only if we get rid of Cleverley, do we have to pay off, it's also his backroom staff that would no doubt have to pay off too. But he supported him there. So we were all happy with that. We all liked that. I'd say 99% of Argyle fans. But yeah, it's turned out to be difficult, that's for sure. We've seen Razor Light. I love Herbie's pickup on the suspended game for Cleverley and Nance being in charge there. But it is difficult because you just don't want more turmoil for the club. And for me, it's probably only a couple of games away for me. I mean, those of you that are in the out fully already, I absolutely appreciate and accept that. It's difficult because it could be worse. And like, who else is out there? Who's available? Herbie, you hit the nail on the head for me. I suggested it on Thursday night as well. Why can't we just risk it with Nance and Edwards? I know someone said to me, Nance, or it might have been you, Carl, doesn't want it. Doesn't want to be the coach.
Not long term. Anyway.
No, not long term. But I bet you if you had to have that conversation with them, Edwards and Nance, there might be a chance that they would say, we'll do whatever, boss. Yeah, whatever you need us to do, we'll do it, because that is the type of character Nance is. Yeah. So I am sort of very much in the out, but struggling with that because I just don't want more disruption. But tomorrow, Saturday, we have Wickham, and that's a chance for us to come back on it. So, Paul, these injuries, this is 2 seasons on the bounce now. I mean, what is in that turf at the training ground? And is it because we're just too intense with our training? I mean, what leads to having so many injuries and that being a consistent factor?
Just before Paul's talks, we have signed lots of injury-prone players. Just
Belarus is
not just one. It's not just.
Get Paddy back on and ask that question.
Go on, Paul.
Yeah. So like Cole said, the players that's coming in are pretty prone to injuries, and we knew that when they come into the club. But I would love to be a fly on the wall and just be at some of the training sessions with Cleverley, because he's got to be absolutely a different person on the training ground. He's got to be absolutely hammering them at training for him to keep picking up these injuries. I mean, it's I get you've got to work on things, but to me, it looks like to me, and I think somebody said it the other day. I just think that he's working maybe, I don't know, if they train for say 2 hours, he's probably doing about 20, 30 minutes of drills. And then he's going into like a match scenario and playing like a 9v9 or 10v10, however many they got. And perhaps the players are going, to me, it just seems like the players are possibly going in too hard if they're on each other at training.
Or not hard enough, Paul, as Cleverley seemed to say, or we don't want them going too hard on each other in training.
Well, they've got to be. They've got to be, because but if they are going in hard each other at training and they're picking up injuries, right? Why are we not seeing them going in hard in matches and closing down and being physical? Show a bit of physicality on the pitch and put your body on the line at the end of the day, And like you said, there's got to be something different in the turf up there. That is, are they running through steel bars or something? I don't know. But he's got to be doing something wrong on the training ground as well as he's doing on the sidelines, because all these players cannot be picking up injuries the way they are. It's not,
And you can't afford it either as a naturally a small squad, club with a small squad anyway. You just can't afford that, can you?
I mean, what me and Cole were saying last night, and it's beggars belief. We've got a small squad already, and we're picking up injuries left, right, and centre. And you've got Tegan Finn last night playing for the under-18s.
Yeah.
Why is he playing in that game last night? Under-18s. We need him. We need him to be focusing on the main team. He's part of the main team now, and fair enough. You might say, oh well, it's more game time for him.
That's the only thing I could assume it was, Paul. But he got in at 5 o'clock in the morning, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. It just the decisions he's making is unbelievable. I mean, I get Edwards is the captain, right? But he's not the manager. He's not the gaffer. He's not the person who makes the final decision. He don't pick the team. The manager picks the team. So if he's got a niggle, or he's saying his calf's not right, or it's not 100%, Cleverley should have the danglies to say, you're not playing today. We'll rest it. It's no point risking it. Like Cole said, now he could be out for another 2, 3, 4 weeks. And he is an influential player when he's on the pitch. He is a leader in my eyes. He is a leader. But now we're without him for another 3 or 4 games, possibly 3 or 4 games. And it's not, it's just stupid decisions in my eyes.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you obviously, when you're under pressure, and you're desperate. And it's not to say that Edwards wasn't, equally saying, let's try and I want to get fit for it. And go in. I sort of, for me, I just sort of feel like he was probably saying you shouldn't select me because I don't think I can do it. And, he doesn't want to go out there and put in another poor performance and the crowd sort of think has Edwards given up. It's not, folks, it's because I can't run properly. I mean, coming back to some of the comments, Harry's one, if I ask you to pot wash one night, wait on tables the next and be a chef the night after, you're never going to become comfortable and good at your job role. No, you can do all of those things over a period of time and become good at all of them, and then funny enough, you might then become the manager because you understand how each of those roles and what it requires. But it does feel a bit like all of that going on. Noted earlier, sorry Ben, that you came in, so evening Ben as well. Also, just a couple more of the comments. Argyle 83 saying most of these players are at last chance saloon in their careers because they are injury prone and spend most of their time crocked. They've come to Argyle for a chance of turning it around. Party Gamer Boy, who obviously plays for Tamerton under-15s, is like,
can you ask him who he is? Actually, I don't know who.
He is
which
our
member of the team
goalkeeper,
it is.
Cole. CJ.
Is it CJ? Is
Yeah.
it? Evening, CJ.
Well, at least he's got some good banter. So referring to Paul working him hard in training, as we were alluding to that comment. Voodoo also, highlighting the same thing. I mean, we sign a player like Ben Arous, who, when we've seen spells of him, and those short spells, does look very good. But what does he go and injure? His knee. And that's where he's had his problems.
I generally think that, again, is our fault because we haven't used the poor boy. He's been sat on the bench or not even in the squad, so he's not getting the match time. He's not getting the minutes in his legs, and now he's pulled up with another injury. So that's my take on Ben Arous.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, he said it was freak, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, are all these injuries freak? They're just, and it's like someone said earlier, since Elliot Turner's gone, there seems to have been a bit of a downhill spiral on injuries. Michael Hawke saying it's interesting listening to this. It's same for us at the moment. Although a Reading fan he is, if I recall that correctly, although we sacked our manager at the weekend and replaced him with Liam Richardson, we are in transition, but thankfully new owners. Hope you pick up. It's a great club. Learned that more as I've been living here for the past 4 years. I've also got a work colleague who's a Reading fan and was ribbing me about the Exeter game, and he proved right in the end.
He was ribbing you.
Okay, Carl, come on, please keep it clean. Sorry, folks. Like I said, I don't pay these guys. I mean, you have to put up with that. Pilgrim Pete is saying 14 players have picked up some kind of injury this season since they came back pre-season. Ben Collins, best thing for Finn is to play. That's all he wants to do. So Herbie, as a young lad, I think you're the same age as Fit. What's Voodoo Pit? By the way, the midweek watching is very good. Mike Goldbridge. Herbie, you're similar age to Finn. I was frustrated he didn't start. There was a family situation that they also had to deal with. His granddad passed away, and they had his funeral on Monday, speaking to his dad. And that's tough then. He went up to the game, obviously came on in the second half, and he had one of the best chances, not easy, mind. He would have been gutted about missing that, his dad said. And then, he gets back 5 o'clock in the morning. Not saying that he didn't complain. I didn't ask that question. I don't go into that. It is what it is. But to see him on, and did he play the full 90 or was it just 45? How long did he play for?
I'm not sure.
No, because I half expected that he might get 45 minutes, and it might well be to just get him a bit more loose and more minutes for the game on Saturday. But it did. I don't disagree with those who mentioned it. It did seem a bit odd. But Herbie, he's got so much quality. And he's been touted by Rooney as one to watch. You can see it. Just his confidence when he's on. He wants the ball. He's got no issues with trying to take players on. He got himself into that position, effectively a Talai position to try and, get that ball for that Patterson managed to win brilliantly. For me, he should have been on the team sheet at the start. Whether or not Monday's funeral was a factor in that. But he's one that we've got to use. And we've built Folkestone Park. It was in Chris Webb's comment article earlier. Pieface has mentioned it. Several have mentioned it. But we're building this like world-class academy, or trying to, and yet we're not then using the byproduct of the youth for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think we should use him. The only problem is, I would say there has to be a difference between using him and then relying on him, because on Tuesday we relied on him to get back into the game. It was only him. He had the only proper chance, I would say, that could have got us back into the game. And we're
don't forget Pepples. Oh no, let's forget Pepples. Right, go on.
That hasn't landed yet.
But he as a 17-year-old. I mean, well, that's just what I think. I can't believe we're relying on a 17-year-old to get us back into the game, and for him to play with that sort of pressure isn't getting the best out of him. When you see youngsters play, you need to see them play surrounded by loads and loads of quality to make them look even better, because they need the help, they need the development, they need to see what other players do and then try and copy that. But instead, we are relying on him to beat a man and put it across and have a shot and finish the chances that we put into the box for him, which is a lot of pressure on him. And that's probably why, I mean, I think he should be doing better, and I think he is better than what he's playing as. but because we haven't got the quality to surround him, he's not.
No. Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry, Pepple's ball just landed.
Oh my God.
So I think, and GT just asked the question, will TC start him on Saturday? One of the guys in the private chat just said that it looks like he played the full 90.
Yeah.
I said this on Saturday's show that I really wanted Finn to start because he does seem like he's fearless. You know, he's not nervous at all. His dad's even said that to me, as you won't mind me saying as well. And that's what you want. You want someone to go out there who's a Plymouth lad, who is got the skills, got the quality to go out there and make a difference. You can't, as Herbie's just said, expect him to come on when the only other player, respectfully, on the pitch that was trying to make a game of it was Dale, and then expect him to do something. Did McCabe, did Patterson all make a difference? A massive difference. Why wasn't McCabe starting the game that night? I know he's taken some criticism, from the panel as well recently, but again, he's an England under 21. He's involved in that. It's like, these players don't get to that level for no reason. So you want to try and use them. And if you manage to get a few players that try and make something of the game, which those three did, and it sparked the others, in fairness, then then use them from the start. That's. I mean, yeah, Paul, you're nodding your head. Why wouldn't you if you've got a player like that?
If they're good enough, they're old enough. At the end of the day, it don't matter whether they're 16, 17. If they're good enough, play them. You know what I mean? You look at Wayne Rooney, 16 years old at Everton. They didn't hold him back. They said, go out, play your game, enjoy it.
That perfect
That's
example.
like that. Owen, another one. Michael Owen was young. Go out, enjoy your game. Yeah, what's the point of holding these players back? If you're good enough, go out and just say, look, go out and show us what you can do. Play with a little bit of freedom. Like Herbie said, we can't rely on him. Don't get me wrong, he's 17 years old. You shouldn't have to rely on a 17-year-old in professional football. But if a 17-year-old does something good on the pitch and he's with older players, it still inspires those older players as well. Playing with that youngster and think, look at him, he's brilliant. Let's try and give him a little bit of support. Let's try and back him up. And that's what I think we need. And it's sort of like it does really wind me up when people say he's too young, and it's
Paul, I agree. That was Pitt in the comments on Thursday night, and I respect those that feel that way. But yeah, your Owens, your Rooneys, to name but a few. There's so many, and look at the success that the likes of Ferguson had with the youth. And for all we know, Tegan's probably like, let me get on there. If you rely on me, I'll go out there and do what I can do. I'm going to, because when he's one of those players that will go and make a chance and have a crack if he can't see that anyone else is getting into positions. He's intelligent enough to be able to do something with the ball and put it in the box, as well as get in the box or have a shot at goal, and he can hit a good shot and get it on target too. Just going back to one of the comments, Andy B saying Mackenzie hasn't had issues before. Something clearly went wrong in pre-season, given the championship teams he was being linked with and his experience. Hopefully we'll see him soon. Again, though, I mean, Andy, I'll come to you, but people have said about Mackenzie, you've mentioned Mackenzie as well, I think even on Tuesday night when you came on, but another player that's not really played or hasn't played at all, and then he's going to take games again. I mean, even Souk said in his presser, I'm still 1 to 2 more games away from being where I need to be.
He's got no option at the minute, though, has he, Cleverly, to play Zooks? Because we've got no one back there. We've got some of our best players out. We've got one on compassionate leave. And so who do you put back there? You're going to have to play Zooks back there. So Mackenzie, when he comes in, he's going to take a while to step up to the mark, but he's going to have to try his hardest to do that. Otherwise, we're at Crab Creek.
Yeah, and I think just picking up on the defence, I mean, Argo 83 saying, no, we are just a team of poor defenders in Galloway whose head is thinking of the food in Derriford. The thing is, and it goes back to the whole, again, the Hazard and Hammond debate. I'm definitely in the camp that I want to see Hammond back in, with all due respect. I said it many a times, I've always been a big fan of Hazard, but we had, when Mitchell came in and Ross came in, we seemed to finally have a decent I'll come to that in a minute. We seemed to suddenly have a reliable back three or four, and Hammond was more confident in goal, was playing really well. And the first opportunity was dropped, right? Hazard is our number one. Carl argued that point why he should come back in. It was a good debate on the pod. But although we obviously got a couple of the away wins, but it just, for me, it's just like, well, when you look at circumstances, it's like, well, okay, I tell you what, I'm going to go back to you then in goal. Hopefully Mitchell does return. I mean, if the funerals all happened, that will help in some way. If not, then it might still be difficult. But he is back at the club. Cleverley did note that in the presser. So, Souks can play. I mean, he was playing obviously forward towards the end of the game and trying to make something of it. I mean, even Ross went on a run that created a chance, deciding just to go for it and not dilly-dally at the back. So for me, I'd like to see a bit of that back. I mean, Carl, are you thinking now as well that Hammond may be right to come back in over Hazard?
Especially for Saturday, because it's a cup game. Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think many of the goals since Hazard's come in have been necessarily his fault. He hasn't been great overall. I don't think obviously his distribution's always been a talking point. I don't think his distribution has been great. And some of the goals he's got kind of tangled up in. It wasn't necessarily solely his fault, but he's been involved in these stupid moments, like he was on Tuesday, coming out and trying to challenge Galloway and Ross, Galloway and Wiredu. But I just keep thinking back on. I feel a little bit sorry for Ashby Hammond now because he got dropped when he was probably playing the best football of his career. Yeah. Let's be honest, because he hasn't had many appearances in his other clubs, or if they have, they've been lower down the leagues. So I would like to see him again. And hopefully he can stake his claim and take the shirt back. Because I don't think Hazard's doing enough for me at the moment. It might be harsh to say that, but I think Ashby Hammond deserves another go.
It could well be, to sort of give Hazard some credit. He could well be not. I mean, I'm not saying
he might not be 100% fit.
Is not 100% fit, but he might not be feeling, and you all want that rhythm and routine again, and getting back into minutes is what every player wants, because they know when they're not getting those minutes, and when they do, and they've been on the sidelines for a while, they're not going to be, up to full speed. So it is difficult, but it's one of those where it was a situation where it ain't broke, don't fix it, or don't change it. Cleverly decided to change it, and it was okay for a little bit, but then it's not really worked out. So, and a few I can see agreeing with that. GT also agreeing about getting Finn started and playing. Jonathan Sell, who did drop into the chat, is a Wickham fan. Evening, Jonathan. It's going to be an interesting game on Saturday. Obviously, you have just changed your manager and had, I think is it a couple of draws and a win or something like that? I don't think you're being defeated yet in those 2 or 3 games. So that's going to be interesting as well. So sort of looking at my sort of points and notes, the more that we've actually talked this through, the more that we said a few things tonight, and it's been a good debate by everybody on the panel. Thank you. And also in the chats. The more I'm sort of getting probably angry standing here that actually, do you know what? It's like Cleverley, like, you have not got long, and I hope you can turn it around. But there's so many things we're pointing out tonight, that we all sort of know and come to realise. But when you bring it all into the forum that is this podcast, as well as the others, it's like, do you know what, God, it's tough, it's hard. From the board's perspective, I want to touch upon this briefly. It's sort of going back to the Chris Webb article. He's pointing out that, and rightly so, that he's still the best chairman that Argyle have ever had. The Falston Park, the Argyle TV, and all this sort of stuff being questioned. The TST event, or whatever it was bloody called. My response to that is, you're always planning ahead in business to look at what you can do. We don't suddenly get a store tomorrow and go, we'll go and take that. Or they're hard to find at the moment, so we probably would. But
didn't you take all the home bases?
Correct, yeah, and delivered that in 5 months. But that, Carl, was going on since way before. So middle of last year, even.
Just putting your legs trapped, yeah.
So, but it does highlight the point that, yes, you're right. When we took them on, we delivered 49 of them actually in the end, within from January to May. And I was involved in that, led that, and had a great team doing it. But it's one of those where you are planning ahead. So these events, these ideas, these things are all happening when the club was in a strong position, doing well. Yes, they could have, sort of staggered the Folston Park side. I don't know the ins and outs of it, to be honest, but my only view on that is, well, potentially those contracts were agreed and the plans were all done when we were in a stronger position and committed to. The penalties to pull out of those contracts can equally be as expensive as delivering the contracts. So there's all that as well. So it is difficult. And, Simon leaves the board to run the club day to day and all that stuff. And that's what their job is there to do. I think the biggest thing for me, I said it on Thursday and Saturday, is Parkinson should have gone at the end of the season. Dewsnip went. I felt there was a bit of a tug of war between those two in terms of ego in the club. He went, and I think Parkinson should have gone at the end of the season as well. So for me, that didn't happen. And you've also then had David Fox appointed. Chris Webb touched upon this, and the guys know this because I've brought it up in the chat and on the pod before when he was appointed. I didn't get that appointment because one week he was at Leicester for a week, and then suddenly he's head of football operations at Argyle. That doesn't just happen overnight. I mean, this sort of role and position, you're having conversations, even if it's at pace, you're having conversations. I find that, and I mean it with all due respect to David Fox, but it just felt like that was another rushed appointment. He hasn't got the knowledge and experience at that level. Fine, if we're wanting to nurture and bring people up, that's fine if you've got the people above them that do have that knowledge. You can't just bring people in as consultants. All they care about is give me my 800 quid a day and I'll tell you what you need to know and what will make you happy and leave again. And the same situation goes with Paul Byrne. I think I feel more comfortable, absolutely, in just the short spells and conversations I've seen from Paul. He's not officially in the role yet, as we know, but I bet you bottom dollar there's a lot of working it to make it happen in the background. And in those sort of roles, you put the hours in
I'll take my tin hat on here, right? Why are we not employing a director of football? Someone, right? I'm gonna get the tin hat on and say someone like Neil Warnock, who just there you go. Look, Nicholas G, well done. Get him in to give that sort of little bit of support from the top, from that experience point of view.
I sort of squirmed at that comment on Tuesday night with Neil Warnock. I think it's Warnock's sort of time, with the greatest respect, has come and gone. I think it's too. Yeah, I understand. I can understand why people think that because he's that one that will get in there and put a rocket up a lot of people's backsides. But it's whether or not he would be fully committed to it. And only Warnock could answer that. But it's one of those where we haven't gone for that experience, and also I'll come to Herbie after this point because it's something we were discussing before. But Paul doesn't have that experience either. But the reason why I feel that Hallett has appointed him, and I've seen this at our place, is because, we went there and tried it in terms of Chris did, brought in an experienced CEO from outside the business with a lot of views to do a number of different things. It didn't work out. He went, I think it was in less than a year, if I recall correctly. It's a few years back now. And then the person who's in charge now has been with us for, 20 odd years. And when it's your business and you've invested a lot of money, you tend to go to who you feel you can trust. And I think that's why Hallett has gone for Paul. While he's still the owner of the club, he wants to make sure that he feels someone's comfortable that is looking after his investments. And whether or not Paul looks to strengthen and bring in some experienced people, time will tell. I think it would be wise that he does that. And hopefully he's very critical and honest with the structure that's there already. I think it was Pilgrim Petey, noted it as it just disappears off screen. Let me come to it in my chat history. Having no head of recruitment is a worry, especially when it comes to lining up January targets.
And let's remember, Mike, we still haven't heard officially if we've got head of finance yet either. And David
Oh
Ray
no!
left months ago.
So that's a good shout. Has that person started or not? And equally, has the new data scientist?
It's not a good start for January, is it? You've got no head of recruitment. You've got nobody to manage the finance. Yeah, it's not good enough, is it?
No. So Herbie, obviously, our point earlier that we were discussing is obviously the statement that came out from Paul Byrne. You felt that it should have been Simon Hallett doing that. I actually obviously disagreed and felt that I think it's right that Paul does do it. Paul is the one that's put in charge to run the club. I mean, Chris couldn't do every statement and every announcement, etc., that goes on in our place all the time. So I do feel it's right for Paul to do that. I know he's not officially in charge yet, but obviously you feel that it should have been Simon, and I can understand that because he likes the limelight. You know, Chris Webb alluded to it. When it's all going well, when it's tough, you know, it sort of goes back into hiding again, which I can sort of understand. But yeah, go on, Herb, give your thoughts.
Well, the only reason why I thought it should be Hallett and not Paul is because Paul hasn't been here since the start of the season. He wasn't the CEO at the start of the season. So, and that is what the statement is about. It's about our footballing journey and how poor we've been through the start of the season to now. And he's only been like really brought up in the past, month maybe. So I did find it odd that he wrote the statement. And I didn't really approve of the statement either. There was one point I pointed out, and all he said was, I can assure you that things will get better. And then didn't really state why. He just sort of went, we believe things will get better. But for me, there has to be a reason. You need to tell the fans, why is it going to get better? Because why? What are you going to try and do?
It's an open statement. Yeah. It's not the bet. You're right.
It leaves more questions than answers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there needs to be, I felt that it needs to be a bit more of as to why is it going to get better, not like wins are just going to fall on our laps all of a sudden. We're going to start playing this just unbelievable football. You need to sort of say, why is it going to get better? Like I don't mind they're going to stick with Cleverley and it's a project, but what they have to do is really back him in January. And and I mean, not financially. I mean, obviously they will do that. Well, I hope
both.
they will.
Or all of that.
But also like giving him a head of recruitment and a head of financial operations, and like giving him all this like these people that know what they're doing that can really help him, because he needs the help because he is struggling at the moment. He needs people that know what they're doing and know the players that he wants to get the best out of them.
Yeah, Pilgrim Pete, he also making another good point. Since Trevor East left, everything has gone downhill. Party Gamer Boy, interested in some of the banter. My mother would sit in the car and blame it is cold rather than play. Akinfenwa being mentioned by Spencer as well. Akinfenwa now, I'll stick my mum up top instead. Oh, that was to someone else who suggested, sorry, Akinfenwa. Yeah, you shouldn't ever leave a statement like that open because you can't, that's a promise you cannot deliver.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with him being the person that's brought out the statement. You know, I know he's not officially in that role, but, you know, at the end of the day, he's doing a lot of stuff. I'd be absolutely stunned, if he's not putting in the hours, but having to do a lot of stuff and managing that with the thanks of Trewithen Dairies, if that is the case, and thank you for that. But he is now the person in charge. So it's whatever's happened in the past, I got to get in there and look at that, and then it's what goes on in the future as well. Andy, anything to add really with Paul Byrne's statement?
Just more. Sorry, Cal got me on one there. No, not really. I'll skip on
You've
that
lost
one.
yourself now.
I lost
Carl and
myself.
Andy were up on the moors yesterday. Don't ask me what they were doing, but it was frolicking with some cows. Voodoo saying, let's not kid ourselves. In January, we'll sign 2 loan players from Burton. Probably lose more than that as well. So, yeah, I mean, Paul, that statement, you know, new CEO, difficult transition period. I'm sure he wants to get in there, but also not let the place he's down at the moment. It is difficult, isn't it? They can only come out and back, and I'm glad that they've put something out and something has come out, but it's not going to allay the concerns of a lot of the fans because of exactly that. You can't promise something you can't guarantee.
No, I agree with Herb in a way. It's a very stupid comment to make that, you know, things are going to get better. You know, he's not Paul Daniels. He's not a magician. You know what I mean? You can't magic a win. The only people that can win the game is the players on the field, and they don't look like they could win a raffle at the moment. And it's like, it's just so frustrating that they're coming out and they're saying, "Oh, we're backing him, and all this lot." What are they going to do in a minute when the they've already got chance from the crowd to get him out? How much longer are they going to put up with that? If we lose the next 2 games, that's going to get worse and worse. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? To me, they left it too late when they brought Miron in to replace Rooney. They left it too late. If they give him another 2, maybe 3 games earlier, I personally think we would have stayed up last year. But they left it too late, and I think in the way it's going at the moment, unless we make a miraculous turnaround and start playing good football, playing as a team, and start winning games, we're going to be in exactly the same predicament in a minute. And then you either stick with the manager and go down, and then try and rebuild and come back up, or you, like I say, I think January is too late personally. If you go into January and our form carries on the way it's going, by the time you bring a new manager in, he gets the players, get to know the players, how they play and stuff like that, it's going to be too late, in my opinion. And I think we'll be in exactly the same predicament as we were with the Rooney and Muslich situation.
Yeah. Can I just take a moment?
It is difficult.
Oh, Paul Daniels, God rest his soul, big part
Yeah.
of my career. Debbie McGee's still flogging the odd kitchen. I think she's still hanging in there. Yeah, it's difficult. Voodoo just says it there. Look, when you're 23rd in the league, I don't care risking anything, saying things will get better. That isn't necessarily the wisest move. I mean, look, he's new into this role. He's new, it will be, but it's new to him in terms of the club. He was a non-executive director, I think, if I got that right anyway. So, again, I go back to the point of, Simon's known him for a while, so he's gone with someone that he trusts, and I absolutely get that. When you're talking a significant amount of your own money, and when a lot of people, we bring it up on the pod several times, when it's your money or it's not your money, it's easy to make a lot of these decisions from your sofa. But definitely, Chris Webb, Pieface, others, you guys in the comments, the panel tonight, are right to question some of the decision making. But as I said earlier, if you got every decision right in business, then there would all be multi-millionaires. And I think that's, for me, Paul, you hit the nail on the head. It's like if we'd have done the Rooney and got rid of him earlier, which, even though Cleverley's sort of points per game according to FOTMob is still more than Rooney's across all comps, but you just, if he can't significantly change it up in the next game or two, then you've got to make a call. And actually, Cleverley may even have to make that decision himself. Where put your ego to one side, can you change it? But goes back to the point, Carl, doesn't it? I mean, who can come in and make a difference? And it's cost. Everything is cost again. Cleverley's wage, if you sack him, is assistants, because they're not going to really stay. You might hope that they resign to avoid that bill. But these guys aren't on cheap money. And I go back to my earlier point. We were all happy with that appointment, and Hallett backed him. We're now blaming them for the decisions, but actually we all felt that was a good one at the time.
Yeah, on paper, I think we were all happy with the appointment. A fairly big name, didn't do too badly with Watford. I know he's under similar circumstances with the injuries and being at a club like Watford who sack managers left, right and centre anyway. I think he did well probably to hold on for as long as he did. I know the back end of last season, their form was awful, and that form has continued with us, hasn't it? So it's not just the form with Argyle, it's the form of Watford as well. And I think Pilgrim Petey put up a quote earlier saying he's only won 9 games in 2025, which speaks volumes. So it's not just our form; it's been long standing. So that seems to me like he's got issues far greater than what's happening here. But I think if he does go, we can't go down the route of. I mean, for one, I don't trust the ball to get the next appointment right either. After
Carl, but because there's such a change now within the board, so to speak, there could be different views on who they would want to appoint.
Potentially, I mean, Paul Byrne might have different views, being a fan as well, of course. But at the end of the day, Simon Hallett's probably going to take the final shot anyway, isn't he? Being the owner, so. But
He's still so on that. He still has to trust his CEO in the decision. If he's confident enough to give him the job, he's got to give him the rope to make the decision. One thing to not forget in all of this, Simon Hallett is as much a fan as we are, and he's a fan that's gotten the opportunity to own his own club. Does he love what's going on? No, he bloody doesn't. And yes, he's made some wrong decisions, or his board have, but he doesn't do this for fun. I can appreciate that. I'm sure.
If you're a fan of the club, you don't hire Wayne Rooney as manager.
That's a difficult one to argue in anyone's book now, isn't it?
But I think it's clear to see if Tom does go, or if he decides to leave himself, then we cannot go down the route of another model of having a young, ambitious coach. We need to get someone in that's got experience and know-how of the lower divisions. Who that is, I don't know. Whether we can go in and poach another manager like Skubala at Lincoln. I think he was being muted a couple of times when we've been looking for managers. I think he would be an ideal candidate. Even someone like Nigel Clough at Mansfield, been there and done it. Got experience, works on a very short, very low budget. I mean, obviously our budget would be higher than Mansfield's, but I think he could do a job. Do we bring Derek Adams back, as Voodoo has said a few times? I wouldn't be totally against it. I think I would like to see him under a new regime. Obviously, the club's a lot bigger from the last time he was here. I know it ended sour, but I think Derek Adams on a bigger budget. He knows the club, he knows the city. He's got passion. He certainly wouldn't have taken that defeat at Exeter like Cleverley did. He would have had those boys fired up and probably would have won that game quite comfortably. I don't think it personally happened, but I wouldn't be against it. But I would be going down that road of having that older head at the helm next time.
So while everybody tries to work out why Kid Hazard, or Spencer as we know him as, thinks his broadband will make a big difference to the Argyle situation, with the banter going back and forth with him and the goalkeeper for Tammert and their party game.
They'll be doing an extra lap on Saturday, Paul, with all these comments, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Well, maybe he gets something because he's on tonight and he's contributing. So that's a
that's good. It's all good. I'm joking.
Yeah, Bertie's comment. Yes, we've got a lot of players out, but who genuinely comes back and makes a huge difference. I mean, you note them, Bertie. Watts, Pleggy. There's two massive ones, I think. Watts was brilliant. Such a shame that he had to go out again. That was obviously an injury on the pitch. But again, it's all about conditioning. You know, was his conditioning not great, which led to that? Not convinced by Amieci is what we thought he was. But again, we haven't seen enough of him in there. Voodoo with probably a really pertinent message there. Now is the time for a cheeky lowball bid for the club. You know, I said it just now with Hallett. He doesn't. Yeah, the Rooney thing is bizarre, and he stands by his views on that. It's his money, so he's been very successful in what he's done. But that decision, will baffle everybody forever. But effectively, is he sat there now thinking a lot of the abuse he's taken where it gets toxic on X, well, not just X, but other platforms? And, he could, we've said this before, just go, do you know what? No more money, absolutely cut it off. I know he said in the last fans forum that Jana said to him, this is the last time now. But he could start looking at protecting his assets now and saying, sod it then. Do you know what? The for sale board's up fully. Whoever wants it, come in for it. And as Voodoo's alluding to, someone could decide to make a cheeky bid that appetizes him enough to then say, fine, and walk away. We know he doesn't want to walk away and still wants a part in it in some way, which isn't going to appeal to some owners. But it is one of those. I'm not saying it wouldn't work out, but you've got to be so careful what you wish for in this situation. Tyler, with the Cleverley in or out, we were discussing that point earlier. I think there's a few of us in here that say yes, out, and some of us that are on the fence. So it is a difficult one. Coming on then. There's a few more things I've got on my notes, but we're well over an hour in. I know.
Just before you do move on, Mike, has anyone on the panel got other suggestions? If Cleverley does go, what potential names would they be interested in?
Yeah, Paul, we'll start with you. Oh, go on, Andy.
Skubala for me. I'm sorry, Skubala.
Yeah, Paul.
I'm the same.
Yeah,
Same.
Herbie.
Yeah.
I really don't. Number one would just give it to Nance and Joe, but
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, Lincoln manager Matt Bloomfield. I wouldn't mind him. I mean, he's been around, and he's managed a lot of different teams. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him. But yeah, probably I'd give it to Nance or Joe or the Lincoln manager, definitely.
Flopping. All right, Voodoo.
Let's just pass his Voodoo. I hear.
And he loves a good pasty, doesn't he? So Tyler Lister, we've sort of answered that one. Michael Hawkes, who did leave and said really enjoyed it, great listen, has then popped back into the chat. So good luck on Saturday in the Cup. Meant to say that before I left, so appreciate you dialing back in. I've got no clue with managers and that sort of stuff. It's not my thing. So, but that's why I said it on Tuesday. I'm with Herbie. You know, again, if I'm Simon and Paul, and you have to make that decision, and you're nervous about what is out there at the moment, then Edwards and Nance, I mean, you could do worse, couldn't you? So, if you want someone who you feel will look after your asset, support him, of course. I know Nance won't want it full time, but hey, we can have some fun while they're doing it, can't they? So. Moving on to, I'm just going to look at my notes in case I've missed anything of note. But
just quickly, Mike,
sorry,
just quickly. I think we talked about this maybe Tuesday or Thursday about his Cleverley's interviews after the game and stuff. To me, he just sounds like a stuck record, and he's just on repeat. It's the same thing all the time. And if he's saying, "Oh, we need to do this, we need to do that," but then you go into the game and nothing's changed. So is he saying that in the interview and then not bother telling his players?
Yeah, I think one of the things that, Paul, it's a good point to bring up because it reminded me.
And also, you can't train clearing the ball.
No, well, yeah. So that I have got the clip, but I just don't want to play it just to save him. To be fair, but that's it. So it's that we put a tweet out. Carl and I spoke about it. Carl posted the tweet about the comment, and a few people came back, with some valid points. They didn't hear it as that he was basically saying you can't train a player to clear a ball at this level. No, they should know how to do that. But it was the pitch. For me, I only got the free clip because I don't have Argyle TV. But it was that pitch side one after the game. And he sort of moans about, you don't do that in training. No experienced head coach needs to train that. And yet then he talks about where it's cost us in earlier games. So, I mean, not that it's not obvious for opposition to understand how we play and how to attack us at the moment. So not really giving too much away. But surely, Paul, you work on your weaknesses that you see in a game and say, right, guys, okay, look, I know I've got a striker up front, Talai, who can pick the ball away if we get it to him. But the problem I've got is you guys are getting in each other's way, confused, making mishaps. So I need to work on that to stop that happening. And yes, Wiradoo, it wasn't his fault. It was Galloway's for the air shot, really. But you sort of work with your midfield to help protect, a bit like Dale did coming back and all that sort of stuff, to at least get a solid enough base there again so that the guys up front don't go and get pissed off when a long ball or diagonal ball over and it goes in every single time. Yeah. Surely you train that, Paul.
Yeah, we do. We work on our defence. We work on our midfield. We move up as a unit. We move back as a unit. Our communication used to be absolutely shocking, but now it's a lot better now. The communication is good at the back. Just proves it. I mean, we had a freak result the other week, but we forgot that. But apart from that, we're not really leaking goals at the back because we're communicating. And communication is the best part of being a defender. You haven't got to be the best defender in the world. As long as you can communicate with your other 2 or 3 or 4 players playing at the back, you become a brick wall and no one can get past you. But if you're not communicating, that's when you get errors. Like that's what happened in the last 2 games when you got 2 or 3 players going for the same ball, and instead of kicking the ball, they're kicking each other. And you think. It's simple football at the end of the day. If you don't talk to each other, you'll make mistakes.
Communication, Paul,
communication is key.
Yeah, it is the biggest thing in any walk of life, any business. Whether it's on the pitch, whether it's you're running a business. If no one understands where you're heading or where you're going as a business and what the strategy is and what the plan is, how do they know where to focus their time and energy, to make sure then that's delivered? And, and that's where when Paul comes in, he's got to identify and try and focus on three things that need that change. It might feel like there's more that needs to happen, but you can't try and juggle 5 or 10 things and not get them all sorted. Go on 3 key things that you want to work to get the best going forward. And on the pitch, if you're not talking to each other and just not wanting to be involved, then that shows itself. So it's a massive thing. And I think sort of the more, GT's there again. It was on the watch along. Not intent on being negative. It's not about being negative, GT. It's just giving your views, and your views right now is that you want him out, and I can feel that. I'm feeling it more the more the show goes on. I'm sort of in that out camp, but not fully yet. So let's go then to Saturday, because we'll go on forever, and we've been on for a good amount of time. And I appreciate you all sticking around. We've got Wycombe at home away in the FA Cup first round. Another away game. Yeah, it's the third on the bounce with a couple more, I think it is, isn't it? Or maybe 3 to go. Wycombe got a new manager. They're sat, I've got it at the moment on my other screen here. So they're 17th on 16 points to our 13, so only 3 difference in it. Their last 5 games, 1 drawn, 1 drawn and lost. Obviously, they've had their manager change within that. But it would be like Argyle, wouldn't it, Carl, to come in and get a win in this FA Cup game and suddenly change the mood a little bit?
Well, you'd like to think so. That's why I would try and pick the strongest team as we can go, just to breed some confidence. And if we do beat Wycombe, then we go on a little run. You know what happened last time when we beat who was it in the virtual trophy?
Brentford. Oh,
that's it. And then we went on a little and that breed confidence. And we went on a little couple of games winning streak, didn't we? So I think you have to go full strength. Yes, it could be a risk on potentially going with Talai and then him getting injured, which would finish our season off until January. I hope that wouldn't happen. But the way of the luck with injuries this season, you could just see it happening. But touch wood, it doesn't. I think you need to go out all out, try and get the win, and progress into the next round of the cup, and then hopefully that spikes upturn in results in the league.
Yeah, I think. Andy, your thoughts on it. We've got to go out there with what we think's the strongest. I know the squad is threadbare, but I think if you're going to give confidence to people in front, whether it's Hammond or Hazard in goal, you don't, respectfully, Brendan, you don't want necessarily to see what you don't want to see Wiradoo in that lineup at the back, and maybe even not Galloway. I think it's just you got players that are worrying about what's going on behind them when they should be worried about how they can get forward and create and score.
Yeah, it's very possible that Mitch might be back on Saturday as well, so that's going to hopefully, his head's not going to be in the right place, but he's going to be a bit more of a solid defender than Wiradoo is. And would you push Wiradoo back up into the midfield? I don't know. Would you drop him completely? It's one of those, isn't it? You either try to build the guy's confidence up by keep on playing him, or you just drop him to the bench and then make him fight for his place. But now we got to try. We got to just go at them. We're just going to do what we haven't done all season. Really gone at teams and high pressed. We haven't really high-pressed many teams this season, have we?
Yeah, so just to stop Herb nodding off, he's been travelling a lot. And Nicholas G mentioned it. Let's think what the supporters who are paying game in, game out, going home or away. Herbie is one of those. He was there last Thursday and there on Tuesday night. It's, the FA Cup is all full of surprises, Herbie. If you can't, Sooks was asked about it in the presser. It's a bit of a daft question, really. I forget who the guy is that started that presser off. It just felt super awkward. It's his 50th game if he starts on Saturday as well. But asked if is the FA Cup that known where he's from, and it's sort of like, what, really? Sooks was like, yeah, you know what that is as a player. So if you can't get up and turn up for the FA Cup, then it's got to be gone, isn't it?
Yeah. The only problem is, though, is against Wycombe, and Argyle against Wycombe, we always play crap against Wycombe. I remember even in the season we went up, we went away, and we beat them 1-0, but it was from a penalty, I think, and Cosgrove scored a pen. Like, even then, like when we were at the absolute pinnacle, we only just beat them, and it's Wycombe as well. One of my first memories of supporting Argyle, we played them in a semi-final and got battered. when we played on Boxing Day once, and we kept on taking the lead, and we drew 3-3, and yeah, it's just we never ever play well against Wycombe. Always a bit of a bogey team for us. And I even remember watching the draw, thinking, right, if we are away, who is the team I'd least likely to want? And it was between like Wycombe and Huddersfield, and of course we got Wycombe away. And also, I hate going to Wycombe away; it's an awful ground. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it Saturday.
No, come on! We're gonna absolutely steal it and convincingly on Saturday. You just got to desperately find those positives. I'm trying to grab.
Well, I guarantee by 10 minutes to a kickoff, I'll turn around to my mate and think, "Oh, we're going to win this 4-0," and then first 5 minutes will be 1-0 down, and I'll be again. So,
yeah,
it happens every week.
It is the magic of the FA Cup. I mean, it did do it. Unfortunately, probably. I mean, although it was a great experience, the Liverpool victory at home park, and then the Man City game and the weekend of that a lot of us made the most of.
Was that your highlight of the weekend, the Man City game, or was it meeting Georgia? Which one was it?
Well, sorry, Carl. She met me. Can we just make sure that's clear?
Grass as well. You haven't name dropped.
No, I did.
Come on, he's back on grass.
Andy, were you asleep then? You're moaning about Herbie nodding off.
I might have been actually. Yeah,
lost my trail of thought now. Carl has got a lineup. I'm just going to download it in a second. But yeah, I mean, Andy, it is the magic of the FA Cup. You've got to try and look at the positives, because else it will just drive you mad every day worrying about it.
Yeah, it's a different game now. And you trial. Do you bring some of the youngsters in, trial them? Get Finn in the side, get Caleb Roberts in the side, give them a chance. Actually, why not?
Yeah, Roberts. I was actually sort of pleased to see he was starting Tuesday next. I thought, maybe he's going to be hungry, but he was out-muscled, Andy, wasn't he, in that game? And it's a shame. I mean, someone we know
was a bit. Yeah, this 16-year-old kid. This young lad.
You've got Finn and Seb Campbell. Yeah, is the other one. But it was a shame for Roberts, really, Carl. I know you were in agreement with me, but Andy, it's like we go to use a youngster, and then he gets, unfortunately, I mean, it wasn't a great game again because of the fact that the goal went in on 6 minutes, but yeah, he was getting a little bit shoved around, wasn't he? And just wasn't able to get a grip of the game.
Yeah, he was to be fair. But, I mean, you go at the cup, you concentrate on the league. You go and play Wycombe, you go and get a win. You're still in the next round. You just got to try. You just got to go with what you've got, really. And who's going to?
I think that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you take these. Obviously, we're out of the Carabao one after that defeat to Swansea in that penalty shootout. But you want to try and they're away from home, so there's no home fan. If we were at home on Saturday, God, it would be unbearable. I mean, I'm not to say it's not going to be again Herbie in the away end from you lot, and rightly so. But it's a chat. We can go in there and put in a bloody good performance and actually do it this time with the right lineup. Then that just helps lift the confidence. Don't concede, don't lose. If you get the win, then even better, you can take that into the next away game in the league. So the last thing you want is a collapse again on Saturday. Oh, it's just a cup. No, it just means that's going to fall again on the confidence levels. So yeah, it's tough.
I'm calling it now. We'll beat Wycombe and then we'll get Huddersfield away in the second round.
There we go. Before I bring up Carl's lineup, I've got to load it in a second. Just look at some of the comments, because the comments have been really good tonight and great engagement. Obviously, if you're new to our show, I can see there's certainly a few new people that have come in the chat looking at the names. We're the Block 9 podcast. We've been doing this for a couple of seasons now. It's great to have this platform. I think in all these pods, and we're spoiled as Argyle fans with what we've got out there. When you're someone that can't talk to people about the game and your frustrations and get your viewpoints and see what other people think, things like this are brilliant for that. It's why we bring the comments up and let the comments show on screen as many as we can, and then go back and read some out, so you can all engage in the chat and agree or disagree with us on the panel. Normally we'd have Gavin on with us as well. The regular Block Niners, as we call it, would be myself, Carl, and Andy. You can see in Gavin. Gavin. He's away sunning it up and probably enjoying a few shandies or two to take his mind off the football as well. We've got Paul at the bottom of your screen tonight, who's the Tammet and Foley under 15s. Carl, can you lift up the kit or stand up or do something?
Well, to be honest, I can't lift it up. It's tight as hell because it's filling.
Well, you can stand up. There you go. Who we sponsored, and we thought it was good. Absolutely voodoo. We thought it was good to ask Paul to come on because he is a coach, so he can give a good and different angle. It sounds like we're all along the same lines, which is good. And Herbie, who joins us when he can as well. I've got, before I actually go to the lineup, because he did the videos for me, he couldn't come on tonight. I'm going to play Harvey England's. He's got his YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know him, most Argyle fans will do. Harvey England YT on his YouTube. He wanted to get on tonight but couldn't. He didn't make Mansfield, but obviously has done it for years, pretty much every away game. So I wanted to get his thoughts to share with you. So I'm going to give his initial thoughts. We'll talk about the lineup, and he's also done me a video for his lineup as well.
Right then, so thank you to the guys over at Block 9 for letting me have my say. Apologies I couldn't be on the stream tonight. I want to start off with the statement that Argyle put out after our defeat midweek against Mansfield. I think there's a lot of things to digest in that statement. A big one saying, with the factors coming into the squad, the injuries and stuff. Tom Cleverley's got a lot of heads turning whether or not they think he's the man for the job. Personally, myself, I do think he needs a little bit more time. I think that this situation we're in isn't all his fault. I think he has got a factor to play in. But a big example of that is on deadline day, him really wanting an experienced midfielder. And in return, he got a 17-year-old lad from Middlesbrough who hadn't had a lot of experience, not a lot of match experience in a tough League One table. I think that when they go on about injuries and stuff, I think Tom Cleverley and his coaching staff team have to take accountability for that. I think that it's been a wide known thing for Argyle over many years that we always get loads of injuries but hardly any in a game. Which is really disappointing. I think Ben Ayus being another one, having a freak accident injury. So whether or not they're going too rough in training, whether or not the rehabilitation isn't quite to the standard, whether or not the recoveries and the warm-ups are just not quite there yet. I think it's a lot of digest, and I think that the statement putting it out is sort of just swiping away all of the troubles that are on our minds. Obviously, we're in a free flow state. A lot of people are talking about it. Pieface, a big influencer, who's an Argyle fan. A lot of people over on TikTok, Instagram, influencers of different teams are looking down on Argyle's recent form and sort of having their own say, which, you can't really disagree with a lot of them. Pieface does get a lot of stick, and I think that recently what he's been saying has been bang on. Personally, myself, I'm not Tom Cleverley out just quite yet. I think that he needs a little bit more time, as I said before, but I think the timer is on for him, and I think it's going to be a difficult period if we can't turn this around.
Michael,
you're on mute, Michael.
Sorry, yeah. Andy was telling us to mute our mics while that video was playing, and then I didn't
see how long we could.
Unfortunately, folks, I control the muting, so you can't mute me fully. But yeah, no, he's so basically, I was just saying, thank you, Harv, for doing the videos. Again, he's one that does spend a huge amount of money, as a lot of the guys. Pieface, one of them, Jason, who sits next to me, who drives a banana bus up with them all, Sam Down and stuff, and a few others to every game. And it's a huge investment. Pieface said himself, everybody works hard. He said that it's a bit different for him now, but he still does a huge amount to pick content out. It is not easy to do this content game, that's for sure. But it's Harvey sort of saying that he's not out just yet. I think he's probably on the fence a bit, like me and Carl. It's definitely made it more difficult to sort of see the inside, discussing it all tonight with you all. But yeah, it's one of those where it's a tough old game travelling. Herbie's getting into it now himself, as I said. I'd love to do a few more. Did it last season with Gavin. It's just time and kids and family commitments. It's not as easy for me these days. But yeah, I appreciate that from him. I'm going to load up. Let me just bring it in. I've got to do the old add a new slide thing, so bear with me a second. There it is. So I'm going to bring Carl's lineup. So, folks, we're on to, if you're still with us and still awake, unlike Herb. Sorry, Herb. He's travelled a lot. Let me just change this screen quickly, get rid of our names. So, Carl, take us through this lineup. And, folks, give us your thoughts in the chat as well.
Well, I've tried to go as strong as physically possible. I think Sorinola's only got a 1-game suspension, hasn't he? So he should be back for Saturday. So he comes straight into me. Move Such into the middle. We need to go to a flat back 4. That's for definite. I think since we've gone to a back 3, we've just looked progressively worse. And I think Cleverley does prefer a 4. So I think I'd tempt to go back to a 4 again. And that's what he prefers. So I think that's probably our best looking back 4 without Ruidu in there. I'll bring McKay back in as a CDM. I think, personally, I haven't seen enough from him, but I think we need to give him another go in that position. I think he did look really good at Burton away, but we haven't seen much of him since then. So I'll probably get a little bit harsh saying he hasn't done much, but he hasn't had a lot of time to showcase his talents. I think Saturday would be a good game for him. Ibrahim again, straight back in for me if he's fit. Patterson needs to start. Dale deserves to keep his place, but obviously in the front 3, not as a wing back.
Yeah.
Talai, that's an easy decision. And then obviously Tegan Finn needs to be playing for me. He tried to change the game on Tuesday, and he needs to start.
Yeah. So Andy, I'm just going to go from left to right. So, I mean, you've got Carl's pit Finn in there, we've all said.
And obviously Luca back in goal.
Yeah, good point. I mean, McCabe, who Carl originally on Saturday Night Pit, we were due into that position as to pull him out of the defence. I mean, the only thing that sends shivers down my spine is Galloway still being in there, Andy. But what do you think overall to that? Would you change anything?
Yeah, strong team. I'd be tempted to put. I was thinking Mitchell instead of Zooks, but I mean, it's depending where Mitchell's head at. And I don't think it's going to be at the races, so maybe sticking with Zooks there. To me, that looks a really good strong side. I can't see much room for change there. I totally agree with Ashby Hammond coming back in just for the cup game. If it's for the cup game and we don't concede, clean sheet for him, clean sheet for the defenders. He's got to keep his place.
It would be a positive. Herbie, who do you want to see when you're at that game on Saturday?
Mainly Owen Dale. I think he probably is going to be a player that can go and win it, not single-handedly, but be a main threat for us. Talai as well, especially, I think, is obviously a main threat for us. The only problem with that is Galloway being at left back. I mean, he really is not a full back. I much prefer him as a centre back. But then again, who else do you play at left back?
Exactly.
We've not really got enough options. So he is probably the best option we have there. But yeah, I wouldn't really change anything in that team, apart from I'd have Hazard in goal over Ashby Hammond. But
just give us your reasons on why you'd stick with Hazard then, Herb.
I feel like he's just a safer pair of hands, and I just look at distribution wise. I think he's just as good as Ashby Hammond, and then also as well when he can just make saves that Ashby Hammond just can't do. And that's not saying Ashby Hammond is a bad keeper, but just Hazard is a very, very good keeper and just the length of him, he can make saves that Ashby Hammond can't make. And it's saves that sometimes keep us in the game. Against Mansfield as well, I think there was like a one-on-one situation.
It was 2 saves I think he made that were good.
Yeah, and he made an unbelievable save. And I remember thinking, God, that's an unbelievable save. And then also thinking, Ashby Hammond wouldn't have saved that, I don't think, personally. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I probably would stick with Hazard in goal, just because I think he can just make those chances and claim them. And yeah.
Yeah, no, look, it's all good for the opinions on the 2 goalkeepers. I think Hammond's distribution would have created some more chances. It's far better than Hazard's at the moment. But Paul, I mean, we got Ibrahim, hopefully, touchwood, coming back in. He's been a bright spark of the season. Started to lose it, obviously, in the game against Wimbledon, which I can understand because it was another frustrating one, whereas he's managed his issues recently with that early start and getting topping up Voodoo's kitty to buy more of these Chateau Lafitte's that he drinks. So I'm excited to sort of think, well, McCabe, Ibrahim, Finn, Patterson, Dale. I mean, that's getting me excited for Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I like the team. I'm not overly. I don't. Me personally, I don't like the formation.
So what would you go with then? So how would you dress that formation up?
Well, I suppose you've got to play it. You've got to pick a formation that suits the players that's available in your team. And obviously Galloway being left back or left wing back or wherever he's doing. But I always play a 3-5-2 or I play a 4-4-2 like the old style. I just think that we've had a lot of when the defenders are coming back and they're defending, then we're trying to change our defense into an attack. Our midfield, our centre midfield is nowhere, and that's why I think they're going Galloway to Ross to suits us and Ola right back to Galloway, and then he's just trying to hit a 40-yard ball up to Talai or something, because there's nothing to pass to in the midfield, or no one wants the ball in the midfield, and that's. No disrespect to the people that's on the pitch. I mean, Dale comes back and helps, but then if he's coming back and he's in the left back position, where's our distribution to go down the left?
Yeah.
If he's behind Galloway, it's we're trying to turn a defense into an attack and catch teams on the break, but our left wing back or our left forward, more or less, is behind our left back. On with Ashby Hammond all day long. I don't know what it is about Hazard, but I've never liked Hazard as a goalkeeper since he come in for Cooper. I think he dilly-dallies on the ball when he gets it passed back to him, and he sometimes looks like he's going to leave it too late to kick it, and he's going to smash it right into the oncoming striker, and it's going to end up in the back of the net. And if he does kick it out, half the time it goes into real 14 of the Mayflower stand or something. Its distribution is rubbish. At least with Lucas Ashby Hammond, his distribution is good. So if he is going to kick a long ball, he normally finds an Argyle player. Every time I've seen Connor Hazard kick a long ball, he's just kicking it to their defence. And it's just coming right back at us.
Do you feel, chaps, that Hazard seems to play well when he's got no pressure? I mean, there was a time when Ashby Hammond wasn't even at the club, and it was just him and one of the youth team goalkeepers, and then all of a sudden Ashby Hammond's at the club, and he's got competition, and so he has to.
Ashby Hammond got better and better the more games he was playing, and then as soon as Hazard was fit or supposedly fit, he's come right back in the team, which I think is a bit of a kick in the balls, really, for Ashby Hammond.
Yeah, when the last game he played, Ashby Hammond was against Wimbledon, wasn't it? So you can't fault him for the goals, really.
No. I think people get blinded by what Hazard's distribution used to be. His distribution used to be awful, but now he has honestly improved distribution. Like he's improved so much. I can't remember the last time he's actually kicked out of play. From like where a player's passed back to him and he's gone long and he's kicked out of play. I can't remember the last time he's done it. Genuinely,
he done it on Tuesday.
Did he do it against Mansfield? I don't remember.
Whether that was a pass back to him, but I see your point, Herb. I think to me every ball up seemed to be going over to Talai's head, whether it was from the back four or whether it was from Hazard, and too many of them in the last, even against Exeter, went, it's a narrow pitch there if you're going to give him any bit of rope, but just went out to touch too many times. I think, and I was a fan of Hazard's, of being patient with Hazard when there was a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people were against it, and it's, for me, he started to command his box better. He just evolved and grew into the keeping role. I think the confidence thing is a big problem, for every player at the moment, for sure. And he doesn't feel comfortable, seem comfortable playing the ball out the back with the defenders anyway. And obviously that issue with the Wimbledon goal. But it's a difficult one. It's going to be, it's a bit like Marmite. You either like him or not at the moment, either of them in goal. I think, everybody's pitting some fair points across to on that. I mean, the big notable out of the squad is Boateng. Also, is it CJ's called Party Gamer Boy? Said has Hazard got an assist yet? He hasn't.
No, but
Hammond
Ashby
only
Hammond
has
has.
one. Yeah, only has one. I mean, believe it or not, on FOTMob, I mean, Victor Poulsen's still down there as one. Which is madness. But and another player that I think Boateng is right to come out. And Carl, you also have left Mumba out, which was a big talking point.
Mumba was absolutely dog shit on Tuesday. He was absolutely
he
awful.
did say that as an earlier comment as well, didn't he? I just hardly recall mentioning him in the game.
I think we haven't seen the best from Mumba ever since Schumacher left. Rooney never got the best out of Mumba. Cleverley said himself he's struggling to get the best out of Mumba. He's not in the right headspace. I don't know whether he's trying too hard. I know Cleverley said a few times in post-match conferences that maybe he is trying too hard to try and get that goal or get that assist. I know he's got 3 assists this season. I know one of them was from a corner or something, so it's not like he's going out and out attacking and getting great assists. But no, he's just I don't know. I don't know what really his best position is. I don't think he's a front. I don't think he can play in the front three. I think his natural position is a left wing back. But I don't know. Mumba needs time to reflect on the bench for a few weeks because other players are pushing him and he deserves to be in that team more than Mumba at the moment.
Yeah, it's tough on him. I mean, Cleverley did say that on Monday that he dropped him because he was exactly what you said. He wasn't getting what he needs to deliver. Mumba said, "I'm going to prove you wrong." Effectively, something along those lines on Sunday in training, and then again because of the early goal, it changes so much for individual players.
I also think there's a reason why other teams haven't come in for Mumba in the summer because he's very, very inconsistent.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether or not he did, definitely.
That's why Sunderland got rid, and that's why Norwich got rid, mate.
And look, and it worked with Whittaker at the time. It's the right manager, the right circumstances. Can get the best out of certain players. I mean, he is up there, with the 3 assists along with Boateng at the top there. But it doesn't say much. Matty H saying Barley similar to Morgan, really completely different player. Absolutely. JC saying on the Ashby Hammond thing is a bit like Hazard, as when Hazard came he was crap but he grew into it, and Luca Ashby Hammond has grown into it but not enough game time to show. He did grow into it pretty quick, especially off the back of that howler in pre-season. He had to follow that follow him around with. A few more I'll just read out. The Voodoo one earlier about the freak injury regarding Benarous is breaking your ankle opening a bottle of Chateau Lafite 61. How many ankles have you broken then, Voodoo? Graham Burns saying that's 4 changes, or maybe it's 5 changes. With Mitchell, he will have passion. JC saying about him being in. I think if the situation's resolved with his mum, then and he says he is ready, and you feel that, then I would have him in. Agree.
If he's in the right headspace, could you have Sorinola on the left and then Mitchell?
I just think because my experiences. I just think it's my experience as a counsellor. You do not get over bereavement that quickly. No one does. You're going to go through all the sort of emotions of grief, aren't you? So I don't think personally he's going to be in the right space.
And you're right. And I think that's where if the funeral has happened, Andy, if it hasn't, then I'm still, for me, I'd still not probably start him. I think if that has happened, then you've just, as they say in life, you've sometimes just got to get on with it. And he will know that he's in the role that he is as a footballer. He's going to be needed and relied upon. And and I think that will be the best way for him to go out there and do it. But while the situation was going on and not resolved, it's the wrong way of putting it, but you're laid to rest, then that's difficult. If that's happened, then maybe he will be, and you'll be able to see it in his eyes and his body language in training. He is back at the moment. So what we got here, just looking at a few more comments. Right, I'm just going to go to Harvey's video on his lineup. Let's see what he put down for the game.
Right then, so thank you to the guys over the Block 9 for letting me have my say. Apologies I couldn't be on the stream tonight. Right then, and my Mike also did
Wrong
ask
video,
my
sorry.
lineup and my thoughts on it. I'm going to put it here. There's going to be a couple changes in there. Obviously, it is FA Cup weekend, and I think we have to focus on the league. That's got to be a main focus to get ourselves stable and reach as high a position as we can. I think possibly 12th is the highest we could possibly reach in my head for the end of the season. But I think Ashby Hammond in goal. I think he hit a good run of form before Connor Hazard come back, and Hazard hasn't quite shown that capability that we've seen of him last season. I think the back three, I think Riadu really needs a break. He hasn't hit the ground running at Argyle, and I think it's common knowledge that he's probably been at fault for most of our mistakes, and probably the one player that's caused us the most goals at the back by mistakes has probably been him. Big example being Mansfield's first goal on Tuesday. I'd like to see Tegan Finn back in the squad. I think that, you know, with Caleb Watts out, it's a big hole missed. And Tegan Finn, he did have promising spells in that couple games that he had. So I'd like to see him involved. I'd like to see Owen Dale starting. I didn't go on Tuesday, but I did hear and see that he played well. So I'd like to see that run of form continue if we can. But ultimately, it's FA Cup weekend. I'm going to the game, but I wouldn't mind us losing as long as it gives us a bit of comfort and stability going into this next run of league games. But thank you for having me on, Mike, and I'll see you all soon. Go on, you.
He's done it again.
He's done it again.
Michael's on mute. He's done it again.
Just literally,
oh dear.
You
I was
talk
just
too
explaining
much.
my comment that I replied to Voodoo, where it's like 2 hours in, it's inevitable that I'm going to make a mistake while trying to watch everything here. I said to Carl, we don't want to be there for 2 hours. People surely do not
It's
want to
happened.
listen to the moaning going on. And actually, guys, you stuck
Love
with us.
it.
I think it has been a brilliant debate and good points, really good points put across. It's great having different views on as well, with Paul joining us tonight, and I'm sure we'll get him back on. Herbie equally, when he can, will join us as well. And everybody in the comments, it's been really good in there, and some good banter as well, because you know that's what it's about. We don't like moaning all the time. The one thing we always like to at least do is pit across our views as best we can in a professional way. And like I said, you know, earlier, just whatever anybody thinks, you know, of someone else's views. Look, the worst thing ever is to just go at each other. It's not nice. It's a horrible place to be. Echoing Harvey's thoughts at the end, if we do lose on Saturday, fine, I get that, but we've got to see that performance, you know, because it will just be horrible going on. Voodoo saying anything on merch ideas? Merch ideas. I am wearing the hoodie tonight, and there is still mugs. It's all available on the block9.co.uk. We haven't quite got Voodoo's wine sorted out yet.
The one-off
Voodoo mug, yeah, and all sorts, yeah. The Voodoo brand, we could make it grow and grow. But yeah, and also saying, come on, they are very rare errors. But yeah, no, look, it's, hey, I don't want it always to be perfect. It just shows what the show is, isn't it? It's all raw and just as we go along. But Michael Hawkes, brilliant insight to your club. Thanks for letting me watch on my way home from Plymstock to Stoke Village. So he left us, came back, and then came back again. But appreciate that, Mike. Stevie Vaughan's going 4141. Hammond, Sukes, Mitchell, Ross, Sorinola, Boateng, Finn McCabe, Ibrahim Dale, and Talai. Party Gamer Boy going Dale at left wing back again. Anyone? GT with a thumbs up. So yes, final thoughts, Carl, from you. Starting with you, please.
Yeah, I just hope we get back to winning ways, just to breed some confidence in this team and gee us up for the next league away fixture at Huddersfield, because that's going to be another huge difficult game, especially now I think they've sacked Lee Grant, haven't they? So they'll be looking for a new manager, so they might get a new manager in time for that game and have the new manager bounce themselves. So hopefully we can go into that game off the back of a win with a bit of confidence behind us, because if we go into it after another loss, I know it's the FA Cup, but yeah, it's going to be lots of doom and gloom again, and we don't need that at the moment. We've had enough, so let's hope we can turn the corner on Saturday.
Yeah, we don't want another 2-hour session on Saturday.
No, we don't.
So, Andy, your final thoughts?
Yeah, got to start defending from the front. Just get at them. Just get in their faces. Well, they won't like it if we get in their faces, and you know we get that early goal, then we've got a chance of going on and winning. If we don't get the early goal and they score, we're going to go and lose it. We've got to go
Yeah.
high press them.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thanks, Andy and Herbie. Yes, you've already travelled a lot this week. It is way past your bedtime tonight.
Yep.
But yeah, you're going back up there on Saturday. Final thoughts from you, mate.
I just want to see a good performance. That is literally it. If I don't, then might have to start supporting Plymouth Parkway or something. Yeah, all I want is a good performance on Saturday. I want the journey to be worth it in the end.
Yeah, pitting all those miles in, absolutely. Paul, before your final thoughts on the tomorrow or Saturday even, who have you got on the weekend? Who's the boys playing this weekend?
The dreaded Hunters District, unfortunately. I've got to be on the best behaviour Saturday, Mike. So I've got to be a little bit less vocal in the technical area, a bit like Tom Cleverley. But I'm sure I'll still get my point across. But
Is that a home or away fixture, so to speak?
it is away. That's status come, unfortunately.
So what time's the kickoff?
12:15 kickoff.
Okay, cool. So, and then look forward to that one and seeing the results. We do share them, obviously, or Carl does when we go on the stream when he's on. So, yeah, final thoughts to end the show. Your first one on, Paul, so really appreciate it. It's great having your insight as well, and we will definitely drag you on again, I'm sure.
Yeah, the good thing is, I think we just got to go out and sort of start playing like we know we can. We've got to get, like we said before, we've got to close down quicker, put them under pressure, make them make mistakes, and then capitalise on their mistakes. Get the ball to lie and stuff like that. Get some good balls into the box, into the danger zone. I'll call it. Put them in the danger zone, and hopefully somebody can put them away. Getting a win is in my eyes, whether it be the FA Cup or league game, whatever it be, we need a win. We need a win because just to lift the spirits, lift the fans again, and then it just gives us that little boost going into the next league game. Like Cole said, if we lose, we're going into the next league game with another negative, which we don't want. We need the fans to be getting behind the players, maybe not, chant the chants coming out and stuff like that. It doesn't help at the end of the day. You can see their frustration, but it's not helping. So hopefully they'll get behind the team, even if it starts going wrong. And then it's down to the board then to see what they do. And just on another note, this is for Cole. I don't know if he's reminded or said anything.
Not yet, but yeah, mention it.
13th of December, we've got our Christmas party for Tammert and Foliot under 15s. So if any of the podcast people want to come along for a drink and Christmas drink and a chat, they're more than welcome. And I'm sure Tammert and Foliot will put their hand in their pocket as sponsors to buy you a few drinks that evening as well.
Well, I'm a cheap date, but Carl and Andy are proper alcoholics. So, well, actually, Gavin, he's not there. He's not here tonight.
The other night, Mike.
Oh God! But no, appreciate that, Paul, and absolutely for sure. And I will get myself. I mean, Christ, I'm only at the bottom of Tammert and Foliot and Southway Drive here, so it's no excuses for me to get up there. So yeah, look, final thoughts from me. Look, appreciate everybody that's joined us tonight. It's a long one, and for you to stay on, as I said just now, is just commendable. We really, really appreciate it. We love bringing you the show. As I always say, if you're on YouTube and you're new to us or you're not subscribed yet, you hear it on every bloody YouTube channel. But of course, hit the subscribe button and press the bell as well, and then I mean, now, if you've been with us long enough, Thursday nights 8:30, Saturday nights 8:30, where we bring you the post-match analysis. But yeah, look, I think it's a difficult time. It's a tough time. It's a horrible time when things like this go on. No one wants it. No one's deliberately, making the situation that it is. But come on, lads, please, and Tom, just do something that shows that you can step it up a level on Saturday in whatever way, shape, or form that needs to be. A good performance, regardless of the result. for those travelling away fans and also all Argyle fans. We want to go into the next league fixture with some step in our feet. So, yeah, thanks, Carl, Andy, Herbie, and Paul, and to all of you in the comments. I will download this and wrap it up quickly before I go to bed because I'm shattered to Acast for those that like to catch up on it afterwards. But appreciate it as always. Enjoy the rest of